Who cares?
I'm a winter sport enthusiast.
I watched one. Yeah, but when they start in November, when they start in October and end in July, I don't know.
It's a long season.
Yeah, it seems like it just ends and then they're talking about starting it already. It's like, come on. The playoffs take like 3 months.
Oh, NBA. I mean, that's the best time to watch it, though, to be honest.
Oh, the playoffs? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I watched probably 3 games maybe this year. I just don't. I'm a big defense guy. I really like watching college basketball because I like the defense.
Ooh, college basketball gets sloppy, though.
You mean the defense or just the play?
The play in general gets a little sloppy. Not like either of us are basketball. People are gonna hop on the live, be like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, why are we talking basketball?
It's okay.
All right. Oh, we're live. I can pop on. All right.
We are, yeah.
Here we go. All right.
I'm gonna get a post in.
Gosh, I always forget to. There you go. I always forget to mute, and then I hear it. I'll tell them we're on.
All right. Hey. Oh, picture.
Oh.
Oh, wait, here. One more time. Okay. I got myself a bad pick on that one.
Matt said he's logging off if we're talking basketball. Matt, maybe you can start putting comments in about the changes, not the changes, but we can't talk long about it. We got to get rocking here. But we are going to do a podcast about I don't know, what do you call them? Changes, updates to what's happening. I think a lot of people are wondering what's going to be the super regional is going to look like for D2 and D3. How things are going to work at girls state. So Matt, just start putting in some comments. You probably know more being on the coaches association. Let us know what's going to be like. But we are going to do a podcast on it as well. All right, Teague, let's get going. We're going to start 106.
Hang on. Link sharing. We'll get through this one quick tonight.
Yeah, we're eliminating or going down to 8 tonight.
And it's a big recording night for me, Steve, because
yeah,
I know you got places to be after this, but I'm hopping on with Jordan Crass after this.
Yeah, excited to listen to that one.
We've recorded like 2 nights in a row, but I don't know if I've ever done something like this. I'm on mute.
Yeah. No, yeah, we've done 3 in a week. 3 in 5 days we've done before. My favorite are still the sectional previews. Love doing them. Love researching what teams have coming.
That one, it's crazy to think it's already coming up in September, and I feel like we have a slew of stuff lined up before then. Like, I feel like we have a calendar year now set. I got one more live series in my noggin too, but I'm not going to talk about that publicly yet.
Oh, okay. Matt said, all right, Teague, you get going when you're ready, but that's different than what I thought. Super regionals is 2 regionals together, top 4 make it the sectionals. I thought it was going to be like a super regional, like a top whatever. I just had it pictured differently. Oh, that's good. I like that.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. All right.
I was thinking they were going to take regionals and sectionals and put them together into one weekend. And then that was going to be the state qualifier.
Oh, hey, I have an excellent connection. I'll still nice. 3 qualify for state. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the T1 with the 2 teams making it. That's good.
So it's just 4 team sectionals all around. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, which makes it more fun for looking at sectional results.
Absolutely. Top 2 we get to pick, huh?
All right.
All right.
We're gonna try to update the bracket as we go along tonight. But here we go. Consolation round 2. Steve, I'm not gonna this was a fun round to look through, but I think I'm just kind of looking ahead to the semis and the blood round, because even going through and thinking of if our winners are Pat on this one, I don't know. The blood round and the semis are going to be that one. I think it's going to be 2 weeks from now though, because I got Malachek team camp next week. The 1 week of coaching I do a year.
Nice.
All right. So starting off first here, let me get my bracket. Got to still have my bearings straight. I don't think I've had them straight for 27 years now, but all right. Starting off, we got Mr. Brayton Casey taking on Amron Nutter. Casey of Fenimore, Nutter Casey from Menominee, Nutter of Fenimore. I just looking at matchups here. Nutter got majored by Ben Bast, who Bast lost to Spray. Nutter lost to Spray. He lost to Fitzpatrick and Carey as well. You look at Casey's main loss, it was to Liam Neitzel. I mean, I just think Casey not only wins this one straight up, but there's like computer stuff to prove it as well.
Yeah, I agree. Nutter, I know he's going to be eliminated here, but he only had one loss, 106. All the rest of his losses were at 113. Lost 3-1 to Sudden Victory and to Fitzpatrick, but tough match, tough to eliminate him already. But yeah, I agree with Casey.
I mean, we're talking like all place winners here. So it gets down to the nitty gritty. It's crazy to think of where people are getting eliminated.
Yep.
All right. Charlie Might of Dodgeville versus Logan Mueller of Brilliant. Might beat Mueller 7-0 in the state finals. We talked about this the last couple of rounds. Might did his best wrestling at the end of the year. And there's no reason to think that there'd be a 7-point swing for me, at least. So I would say Might would win again.
Agreed. I'm reading the comments, so keep going. If I disagree with any of your picks,
you'll let me hear it. Okay.
Yeah, or if I have any comments to throw in, but yeah, I have the same.
We got Drew Dolphin of Kenosha Christian Life versus Landon Freeman of Rapids. Freeman picked up a big win in the first round, but Dolphin beat Freeman 6-4 at Steck, which is early in the year. Freeman picked up a couple of nice wins at the end of the year, especially like over Zielinski at state, made it to the semis, but Dolphin still had a pretty impressive run to end the year himself. And I'd still give the edge to Dolphin here.
Right on.
Mr. Spray could probably attest to Freeman having a good end of the year.
Oh, let's see here.
Now, speaking of Tim Spray, I would have liked it better this past year for the 2 D1 teams making it to sectional. Yeah, that's
it's something.
Yeah. There's always going to be the group that just misses the cut.
Right.
Last one for 106. We have Wyatt Migulski of New London versus Colin McDowell of Arrowhead. Right now, McDowell's up in the fan voting from what I looked at today, but McDowell got majored by Hush. He lost to Fitzpatrick, lost to Campbell, lost to Anderson. You look at Migulski's losses. He lost to Might, Ellerman, and then he beats Zielinski 7-0, which for me was kind of the difference maker. I'd say Migulski wins here.
Yes. Oh, you had Migulski. Okay.
You had McDowell.
I did. I had McDowell. So I guess we'll have to.
Can you put a poll in here, Steve?
No, T, come on. You want me to try it?
Who wins? Migulski.
I'll mess around with it. I don't know how to do it, but well, and the reason why I have it is the only thing that I found. I wasn't listening to I was trying to read comments, so I wasn't listening to your rationale. Maybe you had a good one, but I had Migulski beat Freeman 3-1, and McDowell beat Freeman 10-1. Then I know it's apples and oranges, right, and all that kind of stuff. That was my rationale. So, all
right, I put a poll in. We'll see if. All right, moving on to 113 though. This is going to kind of seem quick fire tonight because there's 4 matches per weight class, but we got Ben Bast of West Bend West and Parker Heinz of Lodi. Bass beat Heinz 4-1 at Norski. Heinz, I looked at his season again, and it's actually pretty impressive, the season that he put up, but Ben Bast he's still top notch.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, 113 D1 was lights out all around.
All right, then we got Colton Schultz of Rice Lake and Weiler. Oh, I think it's Carter Schultz of Rice Lake and Colton Weiler of Auburndale. I don't know. I just kind of looked at their losses again. I think Schultz might have a little lower floor than Weiler, but he also wrestled some really tough matches. This is probably like a 1 or 2 point match, and I'd give the edge to Schultz.
Yeah, agreed. I had some rationale written down, but it's not important. We both had the same one.
Next one up, we got Ian Krapp of Fenimore versus Wyatt Skeba of Hortonville. I mean, Skeba's only loss was 2-0. Only in-state loss, I should say, was 2-0 to Spray in the finals. And I think, and you look at his wins, like they're impressive enough for itself, but I just think straight up too, you could probably use the eye test and say that Skeba would beat Krapp.
Yep, agreed. This next one's a rough one for me, Teague. I'm interested to see what you say.
Oh man. I use a lot of loss. Like it gets to this point, like what do you even look at unless there's like straight up a match between the two? I mean, so Radins lost to Dukes and he lost to Campbell, which is a pretty good 2 to lose to.
Yep.
Tonser, he lost to Johnson, he lost to Biba, he lost to Skeba, and then he did beat Bast at state. So right. I'll give him credit for that, but Radins just seems to have consistency throughout the year. And for that reason, I did give the edge to Ian Radins, which yeah.
I went with Ian and it's kind of one of those things we're looking at the end of the year, right? But Tonser had some losses early on in the year that were kind of head turners to me. That how did he lose that match, right? Or and then the end of the year he comes back and takes third, right? And he just he turned it on at the right time. But I did give the edge to Radins as well, just for overall better overall year.
And that was, I'm not going to lie, Radins kind of flew under the radar for me, coming in, got third. I honestly thought this was going to, but like to get the 6 placement spots, it was going to be the top 4 D1 guys, the 2 D2 guys, and then Koji Campbell would be in the mix. Ian Radins, though, now he's 1 win away.
Right.
Hypothetically 1 win away in this tournament. No, I agree I think we're kind of on the same page as Tim here. Tonser just had a weird season. Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's a good way to put it, Tim.
I wish I had a weird wrestling season though.
Yeah, and then take third at state, right? I mean, it's a good weird season to have.
So Schultz
like we said, 113 D1 was just stacked.
And then Skeba versus Radins in the blood round here.
Hey, Matt, maybe you could do a little talk on the other things that happened. I'll just throw one out there, and then you can talk about it. Maybe number 5, remove state adaptation of NFHS rules regarding lowering the shoulder straps. I didn't really think that was still a thing anymore. I thought that was over. I know it used to be when I was in high school, you couldn't remove them at all. But just talk about a little bit about that one while we move on to 120.
All right, 120 pounds.
I got to say this because I agree with Tim. I think end of the year, I do. I like it. It's hard to pick at the end of the year, but and I know, I guess uniformly we haven't been having the same criteria of the whole year, right? But it just Radins had a better overall year, and then Tonser turned it on at the end. But yeah, we're agreeing. We're agreeing with it, Tim. Rough one.
I was thinking about that. Like we're doing like 56 matches a night. At some point, like our logic has to, someone could pick apart the logic for sure.
Right.
But,
right.
Tim has a good point though. Yeah. Like Tonser did get hot at the right. And that's what this tournament would be about. That's what state's about. Right. 120 pounds, Easton Warachek of Luxembourg, Casco, Chance Suddeth of Stoughton. Really tough one off the bat. I mean, Warachek lost 8-2 to Corrigan. He did beat Beckett at Bi-State, which was huge. He lost 8-4 to Peters. I think that was a match. So someone talked to me about that. Like, kind of came down to a pretty crazy thing in overtime. There was Ackman that he lost to, and then of course he lost to Heiser at state as well. Suddeth lost to Ackman, lost to Haldeman, Birchman, lost to Peters twice. Just based off of common opponent results, I'd give it to Warachek.
I think it'd be a tough one. I think Sudduth would do really well on his feet. And Warcheck's a good mat wrestler, but I'd go overall with Warcheck as well.
Next one up, Mason Carpenter versus Hudson Halter. I looked at Carpenter's resume again, and I just remember being impressed by it when we were doing state previews. And I was like, some of his losses, I was kind of like a little surprised by that he had. There's like one or two in there that I was shocked by. And again, Halter like pretty consistent throughout the year. And I do think if they wrestle straight up, I'd give the edge to Halter. So I went with Halter.
Yep.
For a couple of reasons. Okay, Elias Glinsky versus Lucas Peters. I mean, Glinsky lost to Cole Fitzpatrick of lacrosse 5-1. I don't think Peters and Fitzpatrick ever wrestled, but I just know Peters is a couple tiers above Fitzpatrick. So yeah, I gave the edge to Lucas Peters, and a lot of people could argue that Lucas Peters should be in our semis.
Yeah, that's I know people were a little ticked when we didn't have him go, but I went with Peters as well.
I could see Peters making potentially. I've been trying to like look at things. Could maybe be making a run back to third, but also needs to win next week because he's gonna have a tough go here. Got Brecken Minch of Fenimore and Trey Ackman of Spencer Columbus Catholic. Minch did lose to Hines. He lost to Peters. He lost to Spurley and Carpenter. Steve Ackman's just a tough read, man. Like we of course had him losing to Dawson Johnson. But unless Ackman's opponent beat Luke Dukes, who's Ackman's kryptonite, it's just hard to get a read and say that someone could beat him. And in this case, you look at Minch's losses, and I would still say Ackman would probably beat Minch.
Agreed. And until I have to, I'm not picking against them because I've seen that stare down. Yeah, I think Matt is. I know he's fishing again with his daughters, and maybe he's got a big one on or something because he's not responding.
In Wisconsin, I think we can currently take them down, Steve, and now they won't be able to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to like when I was in high school because I remember a couple times you start taking them down, or I didn't necessarily, but you'd see wrestlers starting to take them down and your coaches are running after them. No, put those back up,
And I think it's to be in compliance with NFHS, because if there's like a rule or rules you're not compliant with, then you don't get voting rights. So there's like, it's just kind of a give and take there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cause I know some people were like kind of upset by that, but it's like, that's not a hill to die on.
Okay. Yep. Matt just confirmed that.
All right. 126 pounds here. 126, Steve. I don't know if I give it enough love for how tough it is. looking at all these matchups. I mean, first one up here, you got Caleb Mantle of Wyowega Fremont, whose only losses were to Sonnentag twice and then Brett Birchman. And then you have Austin Blanchard, who his lone loss was getting pinned by someone he beat the week before. Like it's this was a tough read to get on. Like, and I think Blanchard is a junior, so I think next year, I mean, maybe makes a run at an undefeated season again. But I mean, for this rendition of Podiumwinner Palooza, I would say Mantle's resume and just who he lost to, I'd give him the edge.
Agreed. Yeah, I didn't want to pick against him earlier, and I'm not going to pick against him now.
All right, next up, Lucas Sullivan.
Man, I tell you what, though, too, people should tune into this just for the chatter. This is good hearing what people are talking about as far as the rules go. And we keep going with this one, and I'll throw another one of the adaptations or changes out here in a little while. You guys can keep talking about them.
All right. Next one up here. I got to send a link to someone quick. Might have a special guest on tonight.
Nice.
It'll be a surprise to you too, but don't worry. All right. 100. Yeah, we're still on 126. What am I saying?
Correct. Yep.
Lucas Sullivan, Mineral Point, Matt Haldeman of Milton. I would say Sullivan had a couple of losses where like I didn't necessarily know like where they came from, or like a matchup thing. For example, Sullivan lost to Warwick, who got beat by Haldeman. But when you see Sullivan wrestle, like it's hard to go against him. He just grits out. He's a gritty wrestler. He's the epitome of toughness. And Haldeman's a good wrestler, but I still think Sullivan would win a good match there.
Haldeman is the most underrated runner-up, I think, ever. Right? I mean, I don't want to say we haven't been given a lot of love, but that's I agree with you. I think Sullivan would win this one, and it's tough because you got a runner-up that's out in the. Oh, this isn't even the blood round.
It's the final 12. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. 126 is ridiculous.
Correct.
I do think Haldeman and Haldeman lost the first round. I think we split on Haldeman and Peach, and then Peach got the fan vote.
Correct.
Or no, that was day one. Peach would have won the coin flip. Next up, we have Mitch Anderson of Clear Lake and Quinton Wolbert of Oconomowoc. This one, just going basic, don't need to say much, but I just think Wolbert's losses are a little better. The one thing you could maybe give credit to, or even, Wolbert's losses are a little better. And I know Wolbert kind of stalled out a little bit the last couple of weeks, but Anderson had a couple of questionable losses in there as well. And I gave the edge to Wolbert still.
Agreed.
Wolbert's a guy where, like, if you've seen him wrestle, it doesn't matter what's on his resume. It's hard to hard to go against him.
Yeah.
And then last one up here, I mean, Brian Winans versus Brett Birchman. I said Winans pinned Birchman in sudden victory at Cheesehead. Winans also, he carried that momentum to the end of the year with wins over Wolbert and Peach. I think this by no means would be a blowout in Winans' favor. It could probably go to sudden victory again, but just off of what we're seeing on paper, I'd say Winans.
Yeah, agreed. I had him circled as well. Hey, now get this chatter. Matt, if you're still listening, let's talk about number 6, eliminated coaches meeting and relying on electronic seating for team state tournament. Just talk about what currently we have right now. I know there's obviously a coaches meeting, but talk about what differences that will make at the for seating and how the team state tournament's going to be run.
I might share. Oh, did I mention we're also talking about the rules tonight?
I just like getting chatter going on the side.
No, it's fun stuff. All right, 132 pounds. Again, I mean, you get to this 132. I don't know if we talked about it enough, but we have Chandler Curtis of Lodi versus Brody Hart of Winneconne. Hart beat Anderson 5-2 at state. Anderson beat Curtis 8-3. Again, Brody Hart, a great wrestler who just ended up a 16 seed because of medically forfeiting out. I would say Hart beats Curtis.
Agreed. Yep.
So the 16 seed moves on to the final 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I could see that one coming.
All right, next up, we got Kellen Aury of Menominee versus Preston Cradaville of Holman. A couple of young talents who they had really good finishes in a good bracket. Aury was the runner-up in D1 132. Cradaville placed 5th. I look at Cradaville. He got good wins over Taryn Riley and Joey Showalter, but then Aury, the big win for me with Aury is he beat Jake Stoffel, who had one heck of a year. They both wrestled Usselman, and Aury had a better result against him. And I just based off of that, I'd give it to Aury.
Yeah, everything you said, Teague, I agree with.
All right, next up, we got Kyler Newberger versus Troy Dolphin.
I like that you're changing the bracket live, Teague. That's good.
Both of these guys, really, really strong resumes again. And the guys that they lost to, it's kind of ridiculous. I think the one match that kind of swung me was Newberger did beat Newberger lost to Showalter. Dolphin did beat Joey Showalter. And, when we're like splitting hairs like we are, that's the difference maker.
Yeah, I have that he beat Dolphin beat Hart, Showalter, Caden Clark. I mean, those are some pretty big wins. So I won Dolphin.
All right. Next up, we got Mason Will versus Tanner Anderson of GET. So Will lost to Gerber a couple of times. I think one was by a point. Lost to Duchateau. He lost to McCormick from Black River Falls. I think that one was kind of you got to scratch that one off the record a little bit. You can kind of tell if someone like had a rough tournament or something, but regardless, Anderson did beat Riley. He lost to Blaskowski. He lost to Hart. You got a couple of guys here, Steve, who like to keep close matches. It seems like just with Tanner Anderson, where he finished in that D2 132 bracket. I got to give it to him for his performance there.
Yeah, Anderson is, I think he was a 4-time state champ, 3-time place winner, and he just quietly did it.
Tim had a good question. Has nothing to do with team duel result. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, so it's all individual.
But you still want to get the individual results on there.
Okay.
All right. Next up, 138 pounds. All right. Starting off, I always want to say Nathan Ronsman, but it's Max Ronsman of Luxembourg Casco versus Tristan Stout. Stout kind of started later in the year, so it's kind of tough to get a read on him. But this one I simply wrote Max Ronsman. He has a better resume. I think Stout came on strong at the end of the year, but I mean, it's a dude from Luxembourg Casco wrestling at the end of the year. You know he's coming in prepared, and
yeah, he's state champ, man. Yeah, we got to have him go. We got to have him moving on to our final 8.
Next up, we got Taryn Riley of Mineral Point, Tyler Yan of Holman. So Drexler beat Yan 15-3. He beat Riley 11-1. One could look at Jan's resume and argue that it's a little better just based on some scores, but Jan, like if he's losing a match, he can keep it pretty close. So I'm going with the eye test here from seeing both of them wrestle, and I went with Riley.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you because you know them well. I was going to say, can Preston beat Jan? That was my question to you, Teague.
Oh,
Cradiville.
Oh, can Preston? Yeah.
Okay, because Riley lost 4-3 to Preston, so that was going to be my comparison on that. Riley lost 4-3 at Bi-State to Preston, up at 145.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, I agree. I was going to go with Riley.
Oh, you okay? Sounds good. Sorry, I'm checking out the comments over here.
I know. Every time one pops up, I lose some. I'm like the squirrel moment.
Steve, you want to go on? Can you go on Facebook on your phone real quick and just comment saying, "Hey, we're talking some like policy stuff tonight too."
Sure. All right, I might be. Yeah, the next 2 are pretty easy.
All right, next one up, we got Stone Pomeroy of Random Lake. Stone Pomeroy, that might be an all-name team, Steve.
Yeah, I have to write that one down.
Versus Evan Wolf of West Salem Bangor. Pomeroy lost 11-5 to Anderson. He lost to Stout. He did beat Mason Hoopman of Cedar Grove, Belgium, and he beat Severin. Wolf just had a great year. I mean, he avenged his loss he gave Tatum Nichols his first loss of the year, which was pretty impressive on his way to the state finals. This would be a good match, but I think Wolf wins it.
I have Wolf as well. Yeah. I had different rationale, but that's all right.
And last up here, we got Tatum Nichols versus Brody Hart of Winneconne. See, this one hurt a little bit because Tatum Nichols, like I said, undefeated until the state tournament. Hart did beat him in the 3rd place match, 9-7. You'd say that Tatum Nichols still probably has a better year-round resume, but then going into team state the next week, Hart put up a great performance against Ronsman at 38, and I think seeing that kind of pushed me to go with Hart, actually. Yep.
Yeah, I went with Hart as well, and I can't even read why I went with it, but I have something good written down.
If you want,
I'm trying to type it. Try to type in my
decipher it here.
Yeah, no, I'll just go that we both went with Hart. Man, I just love what's going on in the comments. That's good stuff. Here, let me get this on Facebook.
All right, I'm switching to 145. So I'll run through the matchups quick while you're typing that because this one's crazy. We got Brett Bach of Rapids versus Royce Nilo of Milton. We got a Nathan Vandehei of Freedom versus Parker Cradaville of Holman. Yeah, Royce Nilo of Milton. Did I say Royce Nilo of Holman? Lordy.
I think you did.
Yeah. Tanner Holopka of Abbotsford Colby versus Cody Gable of McGuanago. And then Brett Skaug of Brookfield East versus Nick Alexander of Wrightstown. So starting off, we got Bach versus Nilo. And again, this is why I like having Tim Spray on here. Bach was winning 3-1, or he was winning 8-1 when Nilo was out with injury. I don't know what happened that put him up 8-1, but I said the score was 3-1 when Nilo was out. But I still think Bach was controlling the match enough to where I'd say Bach wins that one again.
Yeah, I went with Bach. Shoot. Yeah, just gonna say that.
How's that Facebook?
I almost got it.
All right. Next up, we got Nathan Vandehei of Freedom versus Parker Cradaville of Holman. This is one. So I caught myself like doing this logic a few times. But Vandehei beat Casper and Alexander. He did lose to Drexler, Stoffel, and he also lost to Alexander as well. Cradaville beat Ward and Wilkowski. He lost to Bach 3 times, all from regionals to state, and he lost to Ward at state as well. This is one of those deals where I don't know. Parker is a very, very good wrestler, and it seems like Vandehei has a little higher ceiling but lower floor. But he also did his best wrestling at state. So like, I think Parker's very capable of winning this one, but in this context, I'd give it to Vandehei.
Okay. Well, we're going to do a fan poll, Teak. So start typing it up. And here's my rationale is that Parker is one of the best wrestlers I've seen on top. And from a few of the matches that I've seen later on in the year, Vandehei had a little trouble with those tough top wrestlers. So I'm going to pick Cradaville in this one.
Well, it might be a quick fan poll because there might be another one coming up here soon.
Okay.
Okay. Next one up, we got Tanner Holopka of Abbotsford Colby and Cody Gable of McGuanago. Steve, you and I talked about this off air. I looked back at Cody Gable's resume and like you can't beat yourself up too much for picking Cale Erickson to win a match, but Cody Gable's one that you could go back and be like, oh, maybe I should have went the other way here. Mm-hmm. His losses were to really tough wrestlers, and he has a lot of quality wins on the year. And, credit to our boy, Tanner Holopka, the only guy that will post at the top of the podium. But I just think Gable outmatches him in this one.
Yeah. Sentimental value. It's hard to pick against a kid you really like. But Gable's just, here's my rationale. He took second in Division 1, which is 145 was probably, arguably 3 different weight classes that were just stick. I rank it up there like 195 D2. It was that good, right? I mean, it was a very tough weight class. So I apologize, Tanner, but I'm going with Gable.
And then last up here, we got Brett Skaug versus Nick Alexander of Wrightstown. So Alexander, he lost to Ward, he lost to Millard, he lost to Pinky. Skaug, he beat Stoffel, which again, Stoffel was up a weight class at that time. Skaug beat Delsman from Reedsville, but Skaug also, did he beat Nilo? He must have, because I have that in the beat category. Someone can correct me on that. He also lost to Ward and Bach, and Nick had a really great year. I know I got a couple Wrightstown boys on here. Nick had a really great year. There was just a couple like spots on the resume for me where Brett Skaug wrestled pretty consistently all year, and he still ended up placing 5th in this really tough bracket that I gave the edge to Skaug. But I also think Nick Alexander, like at his peak, is a very, very good wrestler. Like this one was tough. This one was tough for me to go with.
Because you knew who would be on, and what I did for this one, because I'm a homer. I'm very loyal, that. And I think Nick, I believe Nick can be a state champ next year, and he's going to be, and we're going to be talking next year about him. And maybe he can win the whole darn thing. This is literally what I wrote for this one. I said, don't be a homer. Listen and go with whatever Teague picks. So that's my pick.
Oh,
Teague. Yeah. So Matt, send all your hate texts to Teague.
I don't. Tim Spray's saying I'm hating on D1, and I just think like that was one of the biggest compliments I just did. He hasn't heard this part yet because it's 30 seconds behind, but
yeah,
that's a pretty cold take, flipping around right away there. Oh man, that
I think Corey's on now.
That was we got Corey. Corey's on the YouTube. Corey, are you? I did send you the Zoom link, Corey. So let me know if you did hop on, and I can get you on here as well. We went through quite a few law guys already. But if you want to join us for the rest of the show, we could use your opinions. Corey's like the youth state master, like he knows.
Awesome. Well, maybe if I have to jump out early, Corey can second anything.
All right, 152 pounds. Tim Spray's going to say, wait, he's going to say something about like place winners and how I had like a lower place winner beating a higher place winner and whatnot. I know what's going to happen. We're going to 152 though. We gotta keep the show rolling. All right. We got Carson Otis of Kimberly and Hunter Junio of Luxembourg Casco. Let me get my notes pulled back up here. I mean,
well, here, I'll tell you what, Tim, I know you're looking, so I'll tell you what Tim said. He said, how can you pick Vandehigh over Cradaville and not pick Alexander over Skog? So that's
the nature of the tournament, man. I mean, that's just how it goes.
All right, moving on. 52. By the way, if we close it right now, Parker wins over Vandehigh.
Look at that. See, democracy ends up winning anyways. All right. So Kratz moving on. And that gives, there's still, I mean, it's an all division one, blood round on one side. Out of the 8 remaining wrestlers, Steve at 145, 5 of them are division 1, which is crazy. 152 pounds, Otis versus Junio. Glad we got that. I don't think I made any fans on that last pick. I just look at all their losses. Oh no, I didn't. Gosh, this was tough. Otis did beat Ingham one time at the start of the year. Junio beat Ingham twice at the end of the year. I have a lot more results put down, but I can just say that Kimberly and Luxembourg Casco wrestled very tough schedules. But I'm giving a slight edge to Junio here.
Yes, I will agree with you. Yeah, I'm just never mind. I don't even want to take it to a fan poll. I agree.
What you were gonna say? No, you want to do?
I just said Otis's 5 losses, 3 to Millard, 2 to Messenbrink, right? That's that's 5. That was his only 5 losses. So, that's taking his losses into context. I have nothing else to say other than that.
You know what? No, I actually looking at it again. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot to write a name down.
Well, put it to the fan. Can you? I think we got a good group.
Steve, you do the go with you do the go with Teague sometimes. I'm going to use this one. My one go with Steve pass here.
Well, no. I think it's yeah. No, put it in the fan vote. That's a good one.
The one thing that I was just kind of struck by was that Otis and Junio for like Kimberly and Luxembourg being as close as they are. It's not terribly close, but I'm surprised that they didn't cross paths at some point.
Right. That's what I was hoping when I started. I'm like, oh, look at where they are. They live. They had to have wrestled.
And then I got almost every result besides what I was looking for.
Well, you put the fan vote on, and I'll take the lead on the next one. How about that? And then you tell me if you agree.
All right, here we go. No, I have stuff written down. I have all the notes, but then I didn't put the name under. And then I was looking again. I'm like, okay, who did I decide upon? I think that's what we'd like to call a classic swing match.
You bet.
Um, we got Joe Pinky of Aquinas and Will Bieber of Coleman. So Brzezinski beat Bieber 4-1. Lucio beat Bieber 5-2 at State. Pinky beat Lucio 6-1. Just going off of common results, I'd say Pinky, and I'd also pick Pinky straight up in a match too.
Yeah, I went straight up with Pinky for different reasoning, but I just went with Pinky, so we're good.
All right, so we both got Pinky there. Why the hate on D2 145? I don't know. That's might go down as an anti D2 guy. Oh, also, I just got I forgot. So Koi Hopke is wrestling at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Wrestling someone from Brazil at Pan Am's in Argentina. So 7 a.m. Steve, can you put that in the comments?
Yep.
Speaking of D2 wrestling, everybody, Koi Hopke.
That's right.
Wrestling
D2 promotion, right? 7 a.m. And what will that be on, T? Is that
I think it's going to be on Flow.
On Flow, 7 a.m.
Mr. Hopke messaged me. They couldn't log in to watch live, which it'll happen. And the Buenos Aires signal wasn't working out.
Okay.
We got Hunter Rudzinski, Waterford versus Lowell Arnold, Portage. Rudzinski lost to Otis Gable. He had a couple out of state losses at Cheesehead. Arnold lost to Licht. He did beat Junio, and then he did beat Dow. I don't know. Most of Arnold's losses were to Licht, but Arnold's resume impressed me a little more. I gave it to Arnold there.
I agree.
All right. Last up here, Dylan Ellison versus Elijah Lucio. Why did I not write? No, I actually know who I had for this one, but Lucio had he has had a really good year. Just a couple of his wins. I've talked a lot about losses tonight, but Lucio beat Bieber. He beat Tristan Dreyer of Cadott, beat Vandenbush, pretty solid. And then he beat Calvin Hargrove as well. Ellison, all his losses were pretty close that he had, but the Elijah Lucio win over Calvin Hargrove was pretty impressive to me. That happened at Bi-State, and I gave the edge to Lucio on that one.
Agreed. Yep.
I think Ellison probably keeps it a 1 or 2 point match with the way that he wrestles, but I'd still say Lucio.
Moving on to 160. Another tough one here.
Mike Manier. Yeah, no, everyone's got Alexander versus Overskog, which, this is what we had the community for, right? If it was just us two and we were the gospel, Steve, I'd be worried about that.
Does that mean you're changing it or no?
No.
Okay. All right.
That's what we have a fan bracket for. Okay. 160. Oh, wait. Yeah. We're at 160 pounds.
Hey, T, let me get this going here too in the chat. Matt, maybe you can talk about the girls' state combining with the boys. Just talk a little bit what that's going to look like. When will the girls wrestle? Will they wrestle Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, just like the boys? Will it be a shorter tournament? Just maybe give a little discussion as to how that will look. Obviously, there's going to be 8 mats down at the Cole Center. I think maybe I shouldn't assume, but maybe just give us a little description of what that will look like from what you know.
Also, glad Mike Manier's on. While we got Mike on here, Mike, what are you thinking about your boys' 145-pound hypothetical semifinal match versus Jacob Ward next week? Or sorry, 2 weeks from now. It's gonna be 2 weeks from now that we're doing that. Oh, also, was there a fan poll? Oh, 152. It's at 50%. I need to wait for that to end. Okay, 160 pounds.
Is it literally 50-50?
Yeah, so I'll do a couple matches. Let me know if it changes.
Okay. Yeah, get on there and do the fan vote, guys. We're at 50-50 right now.
160, we got Cooper Willis versus Ashton Meese. Just looking at a couple losses. I like Willis's losses a little bit better, and also his wins are a lot stronger too. And you can't fault a wrestler for their schedule because their coaches make it, but also Willis wrestled a lot of good guys in front of him and he beat a lot of them. And I'd give the edge to Willis based off of that.
Yeah, I reached out to a guy in this one. I asked and because I didn't really know, I couldn't find anything common. And this person who knows the state really well gave me Willis. So I'm going with Willis as well.
All right, next one up, Cash Stewart versus Brody Hemauer. This one, Steve, I mean, it was just getting kind of late in the game here. It's looking at 56 matches, but, you know, kind of Occam's razor theory, you look for the simplest explanation. I think this would be a really good match. I think any Brody Hemauer match is going to be a good match for the most part. But Stewart did beat Willis 4-2. Willis beat Hemauer 7-3. And for that, I went with Stewart.
Yep, same thing I found. And yeah, that's a tough. Hemauer is going to be a tough out anywhere. But Stewart's moving on.
All right, next one up, we got Bowen Rothbauer versus Braden Ott. Bowen Rothbauer, great kid, going to wrestle at Augsburg next year. Got to see him wrestle at the Husky a couple of times. But Braden Ott, man, the run he had to the state final, came in as the 1 seed, Steve, at 160. We I think you might have picked him to win, but I didn't give him enough credit. And you look at his body of work on the year, and just when I got to see him wrestle at state, he's very impressive. And I think he beats Rothbauer. I'd say it's like a 6 or 7 point match. You could also say it'd be a pin because Ott, he can cradle people from anywhere.
He sure can. And he's tough on his feet, has some huge wins on the year. So I had a hard time picking him in the quarters. So I'm going with Ott.
All right. Last one up, Hargrove versus Doziel. I mean, we gave a lot of love to D1 160 and for good reason. Matchup wise, just like I know Lucio got injured when Doziel and him wrestled at Bi-State, but I think he was still gonna probably win that match. Hargrove lost to Lucio 9-8. It's hard to pick against someone who finished runner up at Cheesehead, but I think Doziel beats Hargrove here.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Which Steve sets up, it would be a hypothetical Doziel Ott match, a semifinals rematch in the blood round here.
Well, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Folks, stay tuned in for 160 as well on 2 weeks from now. Braden Scholes versus Cole Marco.
Yeah, I've already been asking. I've already been scouting that one, asking different people. So. All right.
Let's see. 152. It looks like Juno did get I'm gonna move him on real quick.
Okay. Oh, that's a D2 guy, I think. Teague. Just letting those D2 guys out there know that.
I'm moving on. I was gonna say, it kind of hurt to move him on, but no.
Hey, is Corey jumping on? If he is, I'll let him take over for me.
I know he's in the YouTube. I didn't see. Let me stop sharing the screen here for a second. No, we're good. All right, we'll keep rolling here, Steve.
Okay. Yep. Keep going. You're good.
All right. 170 pounds. We got Daly versus Gish. I mean, Silas Daly, I talked to Andy Crippolone today, and it doesn't get old looking to see how he did this year. He beat Ethan Riddle 7-2. We lost 2-1 to Devin Wasley. I'm giving it to Daly.
Yeah, I said this. I said, well, I found nothing in common. Both took third at state, but I have that Daly beat Riddle, and that's a big win. So I'm going with Silas.
Gish had a really strong end to his year. I know D1 is stacked in the upper weights with young talent right now, but don't be surprised if Gish makes the finals next year. That would be like one of my early picks, like little dark horse pick, I would say. Quietly finish third, I think, is a good when you have Mulvaney and Sinclair in your bracket.
That's tough.
Next up, we got Brant Craycraft, Mishicot, Cole Klimek of Coleman. Craycraft beat Tyler Dormerman, who did tech Klimek at state. I think matchup wise, just on paper, you give the edge to the state champ in the same division in the matchup here.
Agreed.
Okay, next up, we got Ben Otto from Brookfield Central. And speak of Tyler Dormerman, Dormerman, his losses were to Wasley, Smith, Osterman, Symes. The Osterman one, he was bumped up. Ben Otto, again, kind of, he had a pretty consistent year. Obviously, there's a reason he ended up finishing fourth in this weight class. But that D3 170 bracket, man, that was impressive. And for Dorman to make it to the finals out of that one, I think that speaks a lot to his body of work.
Yep, I have that he has more significant wins. So Dormanen.
Also, Mr. Manier gave a great analysis on Ward and Manier. Both great on their feet. Whoever can ride and score from it down on the mat would win, which as a big fan of mat wrestling, I'm always down for that.
Down with it.
Last one here. We got Brandon Meister of Spooner Webster and David Moline of Aquinas. Moline's just a very impressive athlete. Meister, props to him, for ended up placing 4th at state in Division II. But Moline, again, as a sophomore, just had a really good year. I think he made it to the finals at Bi-State and consistently carried that success throughout the year. And I give it to David Moline of Aquinas.
Awesome. Teague, while you're filling it in, I'll read what Matt said about the girls' state. It said girls will qualify out of their boys sectionals. Girls bracket separate from boys. Only girls champion qualifies. We don't know the timetable yet, but there will be a 16 girl bracket.
Okay. Good stuff to stay updated. I got to stay on the bracket here. Steve, you're doing a great job, man. In the comments, man.
Good bet. Thanks, man.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. You're doing a great job copying and pasting over there. Nobody better. Nobody better.
Control C, Control V. Okay. Owen Hughshite, Darlington Blackhawk, Gavin Cole of River Falls. I know Cole, I credit him with a win last week because I know he had a huge knee brace on. I know we're going like hypothetically if they're fully healthy, like Cole's a very good wrestler, but at some point, like Hughshite has a very good resume as well. And, with Cole, you got to kind of take the losses on paper for what they're worth. And I'd give the edge to Hughshite. Yeah,
the Cinderella story ends tonight. Hashut is moving on.
I should have done the stats to see how many 16 seeds made it, won the next round. Okay, next up, we got Trenton Gibbons, Pulaski, Jacob Manning, Ithaca Weston. Steve, I forgot to see if they matched up at Bi-State, but I know Gibbons made the finals there. I think, and he obviously placed higher than Manning there, but I gave the edge to Gibbons.
Yeah, I have Gibbons beat Welch, and Manning went 1-1 against Welch. So, common opponents, they both won once, but one did lose against them, but I went with Gibbons.
Also, Gibbons makes finals at Bi-State, wrestles Clayton Whiting, makes finals at state, wrestles Connor Mirasola. That's
Gibbons wrestled Gibbons wrestled Clayton twice this year. Can't remember where else, but
next one up, we got Evan Danowski, Waterford, and Mitch Thompson of Kewanee. Evan Danowski placing, what is it? Placing 4th really shows at 182. I mean, you can't really run anywhere in the upper weights at D1, but 182 in D1 was pretty solid, pretty deep throughout. This one made for a tough one, but Mitch Thompson kind of reminds me of the Ackman Dukes deal, where most of Thompson's losses are to Sam Schwabe. And how do you find a way to cancel that out? I guess. How do you put that? But I gave the edge to Thompson here. And this one was a tough sway for me.
I went with Danowski. So we got another fan poll. My reason was Danowski took 3rd at the Cheesehead, right? I mean, that's a pretty good stat. It's a pretty good thing to turn put your hat on. So I went with Danowski. So I'm gonna force this one to a fan vote, Teague, if you don't mind.
Who wins? Evan Danowski, Waterford.
Oh, and I have I missed my notes here. It said that Danowski beat Hansen, and Hansen. Oh, never mind. Forget that.
Are you thinking of the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, gotcha.
All right, next one up, we got Cole Hansen, Delavendarian, Michael Alexander of De Pere. I know this is one result, but Alexander placing 3rd in this division, and then B, just the win over Sam Schwabe, man. How do you pick against that, for now in this juncture?
Agreed. Yep. 195.
All right. So we got Alexander moving on.
Matt, I see your vote in the chat. Make sure you put your vote. Make sure you click. You got to click.
All right. 195 pounds. We got Brock Arndt versus Theory of Prairie du Chien. You know, we have not said enough good things about like D2 195 this year. It was a deep bracket. I mean, all 6 wrestlers, Steve, are still in the final 12, which is absolutely crazy in a bracket with just place winners. But I think this is where we get our first D2 guy going down at 195.
Agreed.
Brock Arndt ended up placing 3rd, you know, at Division 195. You kind of look at their schedules on the year. Theory's still a freshman, finding that consistency. And I think Arndt has that consistency and probably also like just that physicality as well as an upperclassman to where I think he takes this one.
Yeah, I agree. And my reasoning was this is that Cole Hopke was a state champ and a runner up, right? Junior, senior year. And Arndt beat him 4-3. So that's a pretty impressive resume builder. And I went with Arndt.
All right. So we both got Arndt moving on. Speaking of that Arndt Hopke match, well, we got to see how this next match goes here, I guess. But we got Cale Hopke of Amory and Garrett Kilgus of Brilliant. So Hopke beat Carter Grew multiple times. Grew did pin Kilgus at state, and Kilgus, you know, he had a great year. He beat Chase Mathias, who did beat Hopke, which matchup wise, you know, we could give the edge there. But again, you look more into results and you see the guys wrestle, and Hopke, Freedom definitely wasn't his best tournament. And I think Hopke wins this one in a matchup straight up.
Yeah, I have Hopke moving on as well.
Which means we get to talk about that Hopke Arndt match next week. Next up, Carter Grew versus Grant Rydland. Rydland runner up at 195 and D3. Grew placed 4th D2 195. Rydland had a good, you know, again, he had a good run to the finals. You look at their resumes and Grew, who he picked up a huge win over Max Ramber. Like that's a result that sticks with me. I give the edge to Grew here.
Yeah, and maybe I misread this, T, because I can't believe you didn't find it if it did. And but I have that he pinned him earlier in the year. That Grew pinned Rudland earlier in the year.
Whoops. Well,
but I could be wrong, right?
No, that's why we have 2 of us though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of results that we're going through.
Either way, we both picked them.
Martell versus Smart. Steve, I was honestly just excited to see what your take was going to be on this one. I mean, they both, again, similar resumes, but taking into context, Smart state champion coming off of a hypothetical 2nd round loss. I think he rebounds for a win here. I think it's a championship thing. Throw out the paper stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. It's hard to pick. I mean, it's tough not picking a state champ in the quarters. And then you gotta have him moving on here. It's gonna be a great match with him and Grew.
Oh, also, before we go to 220, looks like Danowski's gonna hold on for the Mitch Thompson, man. I mean, speaks to how tough 182 is. We had a lot of good things to say about Mitch Thompson, and he's out of the tournament.
That's tough.
Which means Evan Danowski versus Michael Alexander in the blood round. Okay, 100. Sorry, we're on 220 now.
220. Yep.
All right, first one up, we got Mason Wells versus Isaac Pierce of Ashland. Steve, I will say I've really had my eyes open to how good of a year Pierce had. I don't think I mean, there's a lot of people we got to talk about, but I don't think I gave him enough credit for the year that he had. And I mean, I guess now's the time we're doing it, but Mason Wells, man, for him to still make it as far as he placed 3rd in his bracket, he just had a good all around consistent year. I think this is a really tough matchup, but I'd say Wells wins. in like a 2 or 3 point match.
Agreed. Same thing. Wells is moving on in a nail biter.
Next one up here, Hager and Switzer. So it's funny because 4 of Switzer's losses, you look into the research, lost to Mankowski 4 times, which kind of hard to gauge. So the next best result for me, Hager beat Aaron Botch 7-4, who did pin Switzer. And, again, there's always a little more context with pins, but I give the edge to Hager.
Yeah. Is Hager a junior? I'm trying to find him here quick. No, he is a senior. Yeah, I gave the edge to Hager as well. He really came on. He impressed me from the Highlander. I think the Highlander of that tournament, from that point on, moving forward, just on a terror. So I have Hager moving on.
All right. So Botch versus Rip. Steve, let me know if you found, again, like common opponents for this one, but just kind of from my scan through, Rip had a really good run to the state finals. He had a really solid state tournament, but Botch just had this year-round consistency, and he still had a solid finish at state as well. And for that, I'd give it to Botch here.
You did? Okay. I picked Rip. Can we move? I gotta find, because I can't read why. I said by fall. I think I might have that Rip beat Botch by fall, Teague. So we might need a little time here. I gotta take a little look.
Oh man, that's a bad look on me if that's something I looked over. Well, next one up here we can talk through pretty quickly because there's the result here.
At the Norski invite, he beat him by fall at the Norski invite. So I got to go with Rip.
Oh man, I'm fine with just going with Rip here. Because do we have a poll going right now?
We do.
Oh no, we don't have one.
Oh
anymore.
no. Okay. All right.
Credibility just going down the drain.
Oh, Teague, that's a lot of names. I tell you what, that's why I'm on summer break, right? I do about 2 or 3 a day, because you start looking at too much and you forget what the heck you're looking at.
All right. So we got, we'll do that poll there. Cole Martin of Stratford, David Gotterman of Wittenberg Burnham Wood. The way I saw D3 220, so Gotterman not only, he won at section, I think they wrestled at sectional, but he also won the last match at state between the two. D3 220 was kind of the top 3 guys. Obviously, Teagles is on his own level, but Gotterman was still pretty top notch. And I still think, Gotterman's just a cut above Martin is what I'm trying to say. Is that okay?
Agreed. Yep. I have it down. Sorry. I was kind of, hey, Matt, I got your comment, but we're in the Cole Ebert's in the semifinals. So lighten up, Francis. Ooh, can anybody name what movie that's from? Lighten up, Francis.
Oh, you've used this before too.
No, I haven't. I don't think that's a first timer, Teague. You won't know this movie because it was made before you were born. But Lighten Up, Francis is a famous. Nobody calls me Francis.
All right, Schaefbauer versus Zahn. I know you kind of got places to be here, Steve, but I know
I'm good.
You started backwards. I started at 106 here, so I went with Zahn, with Brody Zahn against Jimmy Schaefbauer at heavyweight.
I went with Schaefbauer because, man, I
mean, they both placed third.
I can't even. This is the problem. I can't even read my own writing. Something about Hansen. Oh, Schaaf beat Hansen, and something. Zahn. I don't know. Who did you pick? You pick Zahn?
Yeah.
I'm going to remind myself that I'm going to keep my handwriting neat next time. I have no idea why I picked Schaefbauer. Schaaf beat. Wait,
I'm just going to put the note.
Wait, Schaefbauer and Hansen pinned each other, and we saw Zahn beat Han. Oh, you want to know what? I think I went with Zahn. There we go. Zahn. After all that Teague, I'll go with Zahn. Because, here's my rationale. Schaefbauer and Hansen beat each other, right? And Zahn pinned Hansen. So if you can take some kind of rationale in there, that's what I got. So I'm going with Zahn. D3 love. Donnie Verbatim in the house.
Next one up here, we got Gunnar Hoffman at Neilsville Greenwood Loyal and Griffin Jonas Manitowoc Lincoln. I mean, we said a lot of good things about Robert Beasy of Amory, who's wrestling in the semis next week or 2 weeks from now. Sorry. Hoffman did split matches with him this year. They had a great match in the finals at state, and Jonas just had a solid resume, but just doesn't have that landmark win that Hoffman does. And Hoffman's also 250 pounds of just pure muscle.
He's a big dude, man.
So I gave the edge to Hoffman here.
I agree. Yeah, it's funny. Vito gave a little shout out to Hoffman and said that's a. Oh no, was it not a said that he had a? No, Hoffman.
No,
right?
Vito. Yeah, Vito said he had a tough draw.
Yeah, he goes, and that would be a tough match for me to win. He goes, he actually gave the nod to Hoffman a little bit, thinking that's going to be tough for me to beat him. So it's nice to hear Vito say that. But yeah, I have Hoffman.
Wrestler versus wrestler love right there. Yeah. Which, I mean, I just agree. It'd just be a fun match to see in general. We got Mr. Matthew Jansen of Little Shoot next, and Mike Nelson of Unity. Jansen, good year, pretty solid resume. His losses to Kai's, kind of a cut above him. Mike Nelson, you might put in that category as a guy that's a cut above Jansen. He's just, the dude is a pinner. And you saw it, especially on the big stage at the state tournament. I gave the edge to Nelson here.
I said Nelson because Nelson beat Brody Zahn. Zahn beat Jansen. So we'll go with Nelson.
And then last one, Wiley Dunn of Whitehall versus Jaron Rohde of Stevens Point. I mean, this one, Rohde, oh man, I'm starting to lose a little bit here, but I think we did say hypothetically we would have Rohde over Zahn, and then Zahn did beat Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve, I'm kind of going your route here. I'm taking the route of hypothetical tournament results. I'm going off of that. I'd give it to, Rohde also did lose by 1 point to Massa in their second go around. Like he's a tough dude. I
went with Rohde because Rohde here's his resume of wins. He beat Zahn, he beat Hansen, he beat Vils, and then Griffin Jonas as well. Those are some pretty big wins.
And I think we're done with the polls here. Yeah. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. A little speed round on that one, but 2 weeks from now, we're going semis. We're gonna pitch that one out there. Make sure we got a set time for that. Semis and blood round, folks. I think that might be my favorite round. I'm just gonna say that now.
Absolutely,
because there's some good ones out there. But yeah, record a podcast with Jordan Crass tonight, so make sure to tune in for that tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, and we will catch you on the flip side.